Hey guys, it's me. So I wanted to bring you guys some more information on ICE. Yes, I said it, ICE. It's getting nuts. And normally the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is where news goes to die. It chose not to die. Now it just seems to be going on 24/7. And I guess we're going to have to keep kind of hashing through this and kind of sift through the propaganda to bring you the facts. This is going to be a video from the Black conservative perspective. Go ahead and like and comment and subscribe to his channel. He's really good. He brings you definitely great information. His video is on woke Chicago mayor declares civil war rematch as he begs Trump for mercy from ICE with panic move. So we'll go ahead and just jump right into the video.
All right, so let me help you out with this one, okay? Since you don't get it. I literally live around the corner from where that happened at, okay? And not all black people were detained. It was just a couple of black folks in a building that nobody was supposed to be in. Yeah, they didn't tell you that narrative, that nobody was supposed to be in that building. Nobody. Also, that's a building full of clucks. You do know what clucks is, right? Also, the Venezuelans went through that building and took over the whole building. Not forcefully, but they just started moving in apartments they ain't had no business moving into. Also, it's a lot of Venezuelans that look black. You know, like Cubans and Dominicans.
All right, y'all. At this point, y'all have really pissed me off, especially you so-called influencers who are taking parts of stories coming out of Chicago and using it for fucking clickbait and engagement. Now, I have been urging my people here to pause so that they can process things. Y'all talking about them coming down on that building out south. Whole time, that building used to be predominantly black. That building was predominantly Venezuelans, okay? There are people from that neighborhood that have been complaining about that building for a year, okay? They showed y'all broken windows and shit that were already there. These are the things that y'all have to stop doing. And this is why I keep telling people here in the city, particularly black people, pause so you can process. If y'all start responding to shit out of emotion, then you don't know what the fucking play is because you haven't had time to actually think. What people are doing are trying to get a rise out of black Chicagoans, okay?
Boy. So we got to continue our coverage of the fallout from what I would describe as a pretty epic ICE raid that happened at an apartment complex in Chicago. Okay, in a black neighborhood, you had ICE pull up in Black Hawk helicopters to round up some illegal immigrants.
And if you guys don't remember, I already had made a video on this where we had talked about TDA that was in that building. And it showed ICE pulling these people out. They had them up against the wall. These were TDA gang members that looked like, at least in my perspective, they did look like young people, maybe between the ages of 16 and 18. And notice the language, okay? The language that the left, that the MSNBC, CNN, ABC, obviously Brandon Johnson and Governor Pritzker are using, they just keep saying children. They never tell you the age range of these kids, and there's a reason why they don't do that. If you watched my video, you would see that these people, like I said, they look like teens. For all we know, they were 18. We don't know, right? But these were TDA members. They were on ICE's deportation list. And when ICE did catch them, they did take off their shirts and stuff like that. They pull up their pant legs because they were taking photos as evidence that these were TDA members. So, you can always watch that video again to kind of get a little quick reminder, but let's keep going.
Gang members. And the video footage seems to show and support this idea that ICE, the Trump administration, knew exactly what they were doing and who they were targeting. But the left is crying foul, right? They're crying foul, claiming that ICE was going after black people, right? There's all types of wild allegations, including this idea that kids were zip tied, right? You had naked children running around in the street, zip tied, and ICE said, F them kids. Okay, there's no evidence whatsoever to back that up. There's also stories about segregated vans, right? They had the black people in one van and the illegals or the people that appear to be illegal, aka they look Mexican, in another van, like the Latinos. Yeah, I mean, again, all types of wild stories that are not backed up by any facts or evidence. Okay, this is the wildest ICE raid I've ever heard about that has no video evidence to back up all of these wild claims. Okay, but Chicago the Democrats are responding in the way that you would think they respond to lies, which is to make panic moves, right? To virtue signal their wokeness and how they're going to stand up for the illegal immigrants. And that is exactly what woke mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, is doing, because he's now claiming that the right is trying to start a civil war, right? He's claiming that the right wants a civil war rematch. And that's why we're saying what we're saying as he signs an executive order meant to make.
Funny thing is this man used to be a teacher, I believe, and I don't know if it was a history teacher, but I don't think he knows that in the Civil War, the Union, which was the North, were Republicans. They were the good guys. Isn't that funny?
Parts of Chicago, quote unquote, ICE free zones.
I said very candidly that the right wing in this country wants a rematch of the Civil War. I want that to sit in right now, because the President of the United States of America has declared war on the people of Chicago and people across America.
That's right.
He's more interested in giving billions of dollars to other nations, while farmers in urban cities around this country are literally being destabilized. And so whether it's the legal system, whether it's through executive order, or whether it's through the brave women and men who are serving as rapid responders. We literally have people who are volunteering in this city, on the southwest side, the northwest side, all over this city, to make sure that we're protecting children from being separated from their families. And we're talking about volunteering.
Hold on. This is all just him trying to suck up to people so he could get reelected, because his numbers and popularity are in the gutter. I believe his numbers are at a 6, which is the lowest for any mayor, which is insane. His numbers were even lower than Lori Lightfoot, and that's saying a lot, all right? And what he's trying to do, I'm pretty sure he can't legally do that, because Trump, all he has to do is issue Title 10, can be used. And the thing with Title 10, it would have to go all the way to the Supreme Court, but in the end, I believe that Trump would win this one, because with Title 10, that's the Insurrection Act, which will allow him to make sure that law enforcement goes in there, like ICE and, the troops. And what he doesn't understand is that when it comes to Title 10, which is the Insurrection Act, it gives the president the authority to use the military and federalized National Guard to enforce federal law or suppress unlawful action like obstruction of the law, which is what's happening right now in Chicago and in Portland and in California. They're literally stopping the federal agents from doing their job. They're not allowed to stop federal law, because with I believe it's called the Supremacy Act, Supremacy Clause of the Constitution, which is Article, I want to say 6. That clause says federal law is the supreme law of the land. That means that local orders cannot override or block federal enforcement, even in a political move. So when a mayor tells ICE they can't enter, it's more of a political statement or directive to local police, not a legal shield against federal officers. ICE agents can still operate within their lawful authority because immigration law is a federal jurisdiction, which basically means all his pandering is for nothing. It's literally so he can get more likes and votes. That's all he's doing. He's pandering, and he's not going to win. So it's a big nothing burger that he's giving Chicagoans, which is so sad, because you have a lot of these people applauding him, thinking that, oh yeah, he's going to totally beat Trump. He's not. Plain and simple. But hey, what do I know? Any lawyers watching this, y'all comment below and let me know if what I'm saying is true. Because, I don't know everything. I tend to just research, but I'm not a lawyer, so I'm just basing it off the information I do understand in regards to the Article 6, which is the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution, as well as Title 10, which is the Insurrection Act that Trump can do. So you guys let me know. But let's go on.
volunteers who are literally putting themselves at risk of being shot and killed by the federal government. And so whether it's the legal system, whether it's our continuous struggle for liberation through organizing, and whether it's through executive action or whether it's through law, it would be nice if we actually had lawmakers in Washington that would actually hold this president accountable. And if they won't do it, then the city of Chicago will, using every single tool that's available to.
Yeah. So the woke mayor is boo-hooing and crying Civil War rematch. Now, I actually think that the leftists are the ones who want the Civil War rematch. Again, considering how Democrats lost the Civil War, right?
Ding, ding,
They're the
ding.
ones that want the rematch. And I don't think that it's going to work out the way that the leftists think that it's going to work out, right? And, one of the reasons why I say this is because it seems as if they're trying to provoke individuals in this country, right? They're the ones that are assassinating conservative activists, okay, like Charlie Kirk, and then celebrating it, right? They're the ones who are trying to assassinate.
It's going to be like that scene from V from Vendetta. One of these days, these leftists are going to cross that Rubicon. We thought they might have crossed it with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and I'm pretty sure it's taking a lot of resilience and strength from the right to hold the line and not react on emotion. They're literally, that's why they did, instead of reacting violently, that's why they held memorials and tributes in his honor. They were trying to do things the right way, but it's one of those things, like, you keep pushing a person and pushing and pushing and pushing, eventually a person's gonna snap. I don't think it's okay. I don't think anybody should push anybody's buttons, and violence is never the answer. But I think that both the left-wing media, like CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, all of them never push back on any of these people. They give them softball questions and softball answers, and they allow them to spew this rhetoric that they know is untrue. And they don't tell them anything, like the way they push back on the right. Now, I think that it's sad because, we're watching in real time our own country crumble. And this is why a lot of people reference, people that are, conspiracy theorists, or some people on the right, they say that we're living in 1984, or they say we're in the fourth turning, where, a country hits like 250 years, and after that, that's it. The country goes boom, because it collapses. And that's just how it goes. If you read those books, you'll definitely understand where I'm coming from. But it's just crazy how these people just straight up lie. And I feel bad for the people that sit there and believe the lies, because they don't realize that, you grew up thinking like adults don't lie. People, would never be dishonest, but that's not the reality. The reality is people lie. They have agendas. And there's a reason why they're doing what they do. And I was always taught to question everything and everyone. And it doesn't mean that I myself will ever always be 100% right, because I'm still learning. I'm constantly learning. I love to research and learn new things. And there's going to be days where I'm going to come on here and be like, hey, I was wrong about that. This is the actual information. Or if something changes, like I could think one way one day, and then something will happen where it's going to change my perspective. That's how you grow as a person. But to sit here and just accept it as 100% truth is wrong, but let's keep going.
To kill ICE agents, run over ICE agents. You got lunatics in Chicago trying to do that. Yeah, I think the leftists are the ones that are trying to provoke a Civil War rematch, right?
100%.
The Democrats, okay, who again they want to get their lick back, okay, so to speak. So I don't know what the woke mayor is talking about here, but what I do know again is that he's pulling a desperate move. They're trying to stop President Trump from bringing in the National Guard. We're going to talk about that. But again, he's creating these quote-unquote ICE-free zones in order to keep ICE from doing their job, a.k.a. he's obstructing. Again, we're getting into the territory of treason here.
This is Chicago's very own WGN Midday News.
A new executive order by Mayor Brandon Johnson is targeting ICE agents in Chicago. The order prohibits ICE from operating on city-owned property. We begin there this morning. I'm Lourdes Duarte, in for Patrick Elwood.
And I'm Dina Baer. Thank you for joining us. Judy Wang is live at the Westside Justice Center with more on our top story. Judy?
Mayor Brandon Johnson says he considers this another step toward accountability, that more drastic action is needed to rein in what he called a rogue administration. This morning here at the Westside Justice Center, the mayor signed the ICE-free zone executive order.
Such a liar. And all the sheep fall for it.
The order makes it illegal for federal immigration agents to use city-owned property for their operations. On display, a sign that will be posted at places that include CPS and Park District parking lots. The order does not direct Chicago police to get involved if agents violate the order. The mayor says it lays the groundwork for the city law department to take those agents to court. As justification, the mayor pointed to last week's raid of a South Shore apartment building. Agents arrested 37 people. Children were present. Some residents were held for hours. The Department of Homeland Security says some of those people had criminal records. Also, Saturday's shooting of a woman by agents at 39th and Kedzie in Brighton Park. Homeland Security says...
Hold on, let's pause. Let's pause here, right? Because, again, I was told that they was rounding up blacks, right? Blacks, he had little kids running around in zip ties. Now, all of the footage that I have seen of this raid, to me, matches the story from DHS.
Yep,
okay?
100%.
Again, I've not seen any footage of too many black people. I haven't seen any little black kids running around with zip tied. I haven't seen that. But I have seen what appears to be gang members, right? What appears to be people who may or may not be in this country illegally. And I'm not just saying that because of their skin color, right? I'm just saying that. I'm saying it based off the totality of the circumstances of the situation. Okay, that's why I'm saying it, because again, there can be black illegals. Okay, if there was a black person here or a very white person, I'd say the same thing. They just don't look. They don't look like the type of people that are in this country legally. I'm just saying. Okay, so with that being said, if you are black, right? If you are black and you are against this, right? If you're pushing back against this, like the Brandon Johnson administration, right? Like all those clowns, again, who happen to be black, standing behind him, okay, co-signing his obstruction. I'm not the type of individual to call another black person a sellout or to strip them of their racial identity just because I don't agree with them politically. But if I was the type of person to do something like that, like a black leftist or a black liberal, this would be an appropriate situation to do it, right? A black person who is against getting rid of gang members, taking gang members out of the black neighborhood. Like, I'm trying to figure out why those black people, again, who told the Democrat Party line, why aren't they called racial slurs and sellouts and all of the things that they call black conservatives? Now, black conservatives support getting rid of these people, getting these people out of black neighborhoods, right? We support saving black lives, right? Being against abortion. We promote good behavior. We're tough on crime, right? I think all of the policies that black conservatives are for, I think are actually beneficial to the black community. But again, we get so much smoke. We get so much hate, right? Because these black liberals perceive our beliefs to come from a place of wanting to please or appeal to white people. But what they don't understand is that all of these beliefs that they believe that white people have, it just so happens that those beliefs, like, for example, being tough on crime, being against abortion, right, being against illegal immigration, all these things actually happen to be good for black people too, right? You know what I'm saying? So maybe, just maybe, I'm coming from a perspective of, hey, I think that conservative values, conservative policies are just better for black people. And I think in a situation like this, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I don't understand what is anti-black about not wanting these people to be in a black neighborhood, right? Not wanting these people to take over, not wanting black children to be influenced by foreign gang members, right? I'm just saying, it's fascinating. It's just fascinating how there's never any smoke for the black people that support this, right? That support this being in black neighborhoods and around black children. But, somebody like myself, well, I believe, my actual policies are, pretty beneficial for black folks. Again, called all types of names, stripped of my racial identity. You ain't really black. You can't come to the cookout. Again, it's just fascinating. That's all I'm saying.
Homeland Security says agents were forced to defend themselves because she was carrying a semi-automatic weapon.
Yeah.
She is one of 2 people facing federal charges. Today's order was the mayor's 3rd in connection with Operation Midway Blitz.
We have a rogue, reckless group of heavily armed mass individuals roaming throughout our city
Mentiroso.
that are not accountable to
That
the
means
people of
liar.
Chicago.
For y'all people.
They're
to
act-
The illegals, right? The illegals are the people that you're talking about here. Not ICE agents, but the illegals.
And notice it's what I was showing you because I had showed you this in my previous video. Notice how they're lifting up like the dude's like pant legs and his arms and taking photos. Where's the children at? Because, you know, like I said before, when they say children, do they mean like 18-year-olds? You know, because, or I'll even go as crazy as, do you mean like 30-year-olds? Because my mom still referenced me as her child. Does that mean that I'm a small child? No. That's just a word, like a blanket statement word. So, but notice how they don't have anything to back it up. Where's their film? Where's the videos? You know what I'm saying? Let's keep going.
Actions put all Chicagoans at risk. When protesters confronted federal immigration agents in Brighton Park on Saturday, they were met with pepper balls and more repression. The fact is, we cannot allow them to rampage throughout our city with no checks or balances. Nobody is
What are you
above the
talking
law.
about?
If we break the law, you should be held accountable. If Congress will not check this administration, then Chicago will.
Good luck, bro.
Wow.
We have reached out to the Department of Homeland Security for a response to the mayor's executive order. Also, regarding the National Guard deployment, a Defense Department memo says 300 Illinois Guardsmen will be deployed. On top of that, 400 Texas National Guardsmen will be deployed to Illinois, Oregon, and other locations to protect ICE and Border Patrol officers from protesters. Now, this morning, Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul announced that he has filed a lawsuit against defendants that include the president, DHS, and also the Defense Department in an attempt to stop the deployment of those National Guard troops. Both Mayor Johnson and Governor Pritzker will have more to say during a news conference this afternoon. On the west side, Judy Wang, WGN News.
Yeah, so what you have here is Democrats trying to block the National Guard from being deployed because the president at this point, considering what happened this weekend, right, the violence that we saw on camera towards ICE agents, is undeniable that you have ICE agents under attack, right? They're actively under attack.
We're hearing from a lot of rank-and-file Chicago cops who say that they are outraged that they were ordered to stand down after federal agents were attacked. The communication for the stand down appears to have come from the chief of patrol himself over the communications platform with the Office of Emergency Management and Communication, reading very clearly.
Now, I'm pausing it here because, remember, the mayor and Pritzker like to, you know, say and lie that it's ICE that's being violent. It's ICE that's doing all these bad things. You know, that, you know, Donald Trump is out of control and his administration is out of control and they're the Gestapo, fascists, Nazis, blah, blah, blah. But yet, they're not doing anything illegal. Everything that Trump is doing is legal. He was voted. He ran on this. And he won the presidency because of this. Okay? Normal Americans, even legal immigrants, are okay with these people getting booted out, you know? Excuse me. Because they did it the right way. These people are coming in here unvetted. And the people that the Trump administration is going after are the criminals. And we're not talking about jaywalking criminals. We're talking about criminal. Okay? And the fact that you had, over the weekend, the person that was doxing them, the ICE agent, she had a semi-automatic weapon, which is funny because Chicago has the toughest gun laws. Okay? Sometimes I don't even want to get into when it comes to gun laws because I feel like Chicago and Illinois' laws for guns is ridiculous. It goes against the Second Amendment, hands down, period. Because they restrict you from having anything, which is ridiculous because most of these people that do the laws are in the city. Has nothing to do with the rural areas. They don't have to, deal with what they deal with in the rural areas. Not to mention, it's your right as an American to have a gun. And before people get in my comments about, would you need a semi-automatic rifle or what, a gun of war? It don't matter. If I want a tank, I could have a tank. If I want a freaking nuke, I should be able to have a nuke. You know why? Because it's my right. That's my constitutional right. It doesn't matter, okay? But illegals or criminals, like I've known gangbangers back in the day. None of them got FOID cards. None of them got their guns legally. So for them to assume that, oh yeah, we need to toughen up the laws. Criminals don't need that because they don't care. And what will happen is that it's the innocent people, the people that are law-abiding, that get hurt. Now, in this situation, you had this person who had, more than likely, it was probably a handgun, who literally, her and her partner, or partner in crime, whatever, they boxed in the ICE agents. They purposely chased them down. I saw the video, which is insane. Hopefully he'll show it. But they went and rammed ICE, okay? And for all we know, they were going to shoot at him. So she wasn't unarmed. She was armed. She was ready to shoot them, Avi, because why else would she have it there? The fact that she even hit him with her vehicle. I mean, come on. Who does that? No normal, sane person does stuff like that, okay? And they try to, like, switch the language to make it seem like, oh, this poor innocent girl. Nah, dude, nah. She got what she deserved, and I hope she get life in prison because you don't do stuff like that, and before people be like, oh, she's trying to do her protesting because she was against the Gestapo and whatever. No, that's not how you do things. There's a difference between protesting and rioting and attacking people. And what she did was wrong, plain and simple. And what this is showing you on screen, it's showing you proof that it even shows on here, police chief of patrol, no units will respond to this as related from C/S. Caller is one of approximately 30 armed Border Patrol agents, ICE, who are being surrounded by a large crowd of people and requesting CPD. And there's audio available too of them talking about this, saying that they literally told CPD to stand down. How ridiculous is that? But according to Johnson and according to Pritzker, oh, it's ICE doing this. But ICE is the one that's being hurt. And it's because of them that this is happening. They're not going to take accountability for it because of their rhetoric. And all they're doing is doubling down, which is ridiculous. They're turning Chicago into a war zone instead of making it a peaceful thing. And as I said it before, had they just followed the law and said, hey, ICE, I got, some of the guys you're looking for, I'll hold them in county for you. Instead of telling them that so they could go pick them up, they're like, nah, we're not going to hold them. I let them go. And now they have to go look for them in the neighborhoods. And this, again, falls on Pritzker and Johnson for doing that. Because they don't care about Americans. They really don't. This is why you have the city of Chicago as a sanctuary city. Because if they cared about the average American, they wouldn't have did this. They wouldn't be putting the average American in harm's way like the way they're doing. But let's keep going.
No units will respond to this. Multiple police sources have confirmed that that message is authentic, and it is backed up by audio of the stand-down order.
So the chief of patrol clear everybody up. We're not responding over there.
All right, and 999, just to confirm, 39th Police in Kedzie, they were saying that they were being surrounded by that large crowd, and they were requesting the police were not sending, I'm waving off all the cars heading to 39th Police in Kedzie.
Again, those are the orders we're being given.
Such trash.
Now, the official statement from Chicago Police Department reads, CPD responded to the scene to document the incident. CPD officers were also on the scene to maintain public safety and traffic control. It happened in Brighton Park. The scene was triggered when two individuals allegedly rammed a Border Patrol vehicle with their cars. Border Patrol agents shot the driver of one of the allegedly attacking vehicles. The drivers are now charged federally, but the incident triggered a riot. That's when the calls for help went out. Now, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson just moments ago dodged questions about whether that order tracks back to him, but he says he doubts the narrative of the Border Patrol agents.
They claimed it was defensive fire, but frankly, we cannot trust anything that comes out of the administration.
Video footage,
We have a rogue,
idiot.
reckless group of heavily armed mass individuals roaming throughout our city that are not accountable to the people of Chicago. Their actions put all Chicagoans at risk.
And we knew this was coming, but the Illinois Attorney General has just made it official. The state of Illinois is now suing the Trump administration, claiming that the president is using American soldiers to punish his political enemies.
That's the loophole that the president can take advantage of in order to deploy the National Guard, right? Again, he's not deploying the National Guard to do law enforcement.
Nope.
He's deploying them to protect federal assets, right? To protect federal agents, which is different than deploying them to do law enforcement. That's the difference. Again, that's the loophole here. And I told you guys from the beginning of all this, like, that is the trap that these woke activists were going to fall into. If they start getting too crazy, if they start actually attacking ICE and obstructing them from doing their jobs, that gives Trump the legal avenue
100%.
to bring in a National Guard, and that's what they're doing. So, again, we're going to see exactly what happens, but once again, we have Democrats in full-blown panic. Look at how hard they're working for illegals, right? Against the Trump administration, they're bending over backwards in ways that I've never seen Democrats move for an actual American citizen. People's eyes should be wide open in regards to who the Democrat Party stands for and what they stand for at this point. It's certainly not with the American
That's my
people.
husky, guys. Let me mute
So,
my mic real quick.
let me know what you guys think.
Kinda-
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective.
Never
Peace.
mind. She stopped. Yeah, so you've seen the video, and, you know, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But honestly, again, I'm going to ask this again. I'll probably end up having to ask this like a billion times on each video, especially when it has to do with stuff like this. But do you guys think we're already headed into a civil war? Do you think we're already there? Like, to be honest, I know we were in civil strife, but this is just escalating and escalating like crazy. And do you guys think that Trump should initiate the Insurrection Act? Should he call martial law? I know, like I told you guys before, we have the supremacy clause of the U.S. Constitution, Article VI. This clause says federal law is the supreme law of the land. So I know Trump's administration can supersede the laws that are in the city of Chicago and Illinois. So let me know your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You guys have a great day, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Talk to you guys soon.